Speaking of the pros, we're on to another big week here in professional football as the Pittsburgh Steelers, with their new quarterback and Aaron Rodgers, take on another quarterback that is up there in age as well, and Joe Flacco. And you got an interesting nickname for this matchup.
Yeah, the Battle of the Unks, as the young folk like to say nowadays. But, I was doing some research on this matchup, and Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco will become just the second pair of opposing quarterbacks 40 or older in NFL history to start a regular season or postseason game against each other.
That's interesting.
That was research done by ESPN. But, when I was trying to do additional research on this game and with Jamar Chase and everything and DK Metcalf, that one really stood out to me. I was like, man, really? Yeah. That's crazy.
And as a guy that's been on the planet for about the same amount of time, you know what?
I didn't mean to date you there.
I have, and I'll date myself there. I find myself, and you'll get here in the next 15 years. I find myself, even if I didn't like them during the course of their career, as they get older, I find myself rooting for them even more. Like Tom Brady, I was rooting for because I was a Patriots fan, and so obviously him getting older, it was the same. But LeBron, now that he's older, I was never a LeBron fan.
I'll make an interesting parallel. I mean, I was never a big Sidney Crosby guy. I used to hate Crosby, and I used to hate. I never hated Ovechkin. I liked Ovechkin more than I liked Crosby, but as these guys start to get older, it's like, man, there goes my childhood, because when they came into the NHL, I was 6 years old. But,
exactly.
That's pretty much the case here with Joe Flacco and
Aaron
Rodgers.
But you're at the age where everybody's at their prime, so it's a really fun time because all your peers, as far as sports go, all your peers are in their primes, and so it's fun to watch them compete there at the highest level. But you're right, it's the Unk Bowl. It's a big division rivalry matchup here, and we have our best bets going into the weekend.
Yeah, you want to? Actually, you know what? You started the last one.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start here. And here we go.
All right.
I've got Jamar Chase anytime touchdown. I know that Steelers defense is pretty good.
Okay.
But sitting at plus 140, I kind of like that. I'm going to stay with the Bengals here. Joe Flacco, 200-plus pass yards. I believe his over-under is set at 235.5. So kind of erring on the side of caution here because of that Steelers defense. Just going to go with 200. And Aaron Rodgers is going to turn back the clock. I know it's over 1.5 passing touchdowns, but I might even go beyond that and say he's going to throw 3 touchdowns tonight.
Golly, okay, all right. And so you and I actually think similarly on one of these. I think the exact same. I was able to get a number as $1 better than yours. I got 136. Actually, $1 worse because it's minus money. But no, it's T. Higgins anytime touchdown plus 210. I think there's going to be a lot of focus on Jamar Chase, and so I think that opens things up for T. Higgins. And with a new quarterback, you want somebody who's reliable. T. Higgins is the guy for that. Aaron Rodgers, I'm right there with you. 1.5 touchdowns. I got it at 136 there at one of the sports books, not going to name because I want them to sponsor the show. And then for the full game, it is always on prime time. And I think it's going to go one of two ways. You'll know it in the first quarter.
Yeah.
In the first few drives, you know if it's going to go over or under. I think it goes under. These two teams know each other really well. I do think it's got that division matchup where I think it goes under.
I feel like you're almost also betting on T. Higgins' mom not complaining. So that way he can score a touchdown. But I just go back to the game this past weekend. The Packers and the Bengals, they were double teaming Jamar Chase all day. And he scored that one touchdown. I believe it was in the third or fourth quarter.
Yep.
And then he hopped up and did the gritty. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's all I needed to see to prove that he's going to score tonight. I feel good. I feel real good.
As far as this game overall, obviously when the NFL said it, they said it thinking it's going to be Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow playing against one another, be a primetime game. It really stinks, though, with these injuries.
Yeah.
This is now the second week here with Joe Flacco in this system. I say second week. That's air quotes week because he hasn't been there for that long. He hopped off the bus and started last week. What do you think this week with him having more time with those receivers?
I feel like he's going to gel a little bit better. And, you see on your screen here, I feel bad for Jamar Chase because all these aspirations heading into the season.
Yeah.
He was the number 1 overall pick in a lot of fantasy leagues, including mine. I picked him up number 1 overall, and I shouldn't have because of the number 1 overall curse that's gone on the past few years. But I think Joe Flacco, I don't want to say he's going to turn back the clock like he did in that 2023 season to get the Browns to the playoffs somehow.
Right.
But I still think if he can just become auto Jamar Chase machine, Jamar will get himself open.
Yeah.
We saw it last week against the Packers. He was double teamed. He still finds a way.
Still finds ways. Yeah.
Still finds a way.
Yeah, and he's one of the best in the business for a reason. I think so too. I think he'll have a good game. I think they get into the red zone, they'll capitalize with some touchdowns. However, I do think the game goes under. I see more of like a 23-13 kind of game there between these two division foes, and it's a really interesting division now that Baltimore seemingly is trash going into this year. I don't know if you wanted to highlight the SEC guys.
We'll go ahead.
Yeah, we'll quickly go through these. I know you take some time to put these together. You see DK Metcalf, of course, out of Ole Miss. Darnell Washington, Ryan McCullum, Calvin Anderson as well for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Also, you got other big-time action here for the guys that dress up in Pittsburgh Steeler black and gold. You see Broderick Jones, as well as Mr. Leal, and, of course, Patrick Queen that played for LSU. Coach Mike Tomlin's always at the Senior Bowl and always recruiting these guys out of the SEC. They understand how good this league is. Deshaun Elliott, Darius Slay out of Mississippi State, and Brandon Eccles, who used to play at Kentucky as well. This is a really stacked team here for the Cincinnati Bengals. Even more, Samaje Perine has ties here to the Gulf Coast. Jamar Chase, of course, from LSU. Jermaine Burton out of Alabama. And you have Dylan Fairchild and, of course, Joe Burrow, who played at LSU. Cody Ford, as well as Orlando Brown Jr., Amaris Mims, and Joseph Osai out of Texas. Shamar Stewart, I should say, as well as McKinley Jackson, Jordan Jefferson out of LSU, and TJ Slayton. They're out of Florida, all guys repping for the Bengals. And you see in their secondary as well, plenty of guys there, including Jordan Battle, who had that great quote from Nick Saban back in the day. Look it up on Google if you want to. Owen Burks and a few others. So lots of players with ties to the SEC playing in Thursday Night Football.